If that's what you want to do and you're not prepared to answer my question, I'm going to leave it there.
No, I'm prepared to answer your question.
Then account for your conduct. Don't tell me about the vendetta against you and the fact that they want to get rid of you. Because at the commission here, nobody gets rid of another person. Here you come to answer questions because we are a fact-finding commission. You assist us with facts and facts only. And what is in front of me is the fact that since the day you were instructed to terminate these ad hoc services, they continued until June, and the cost to the city was more than 50 million rands.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Commissioner, I agree with you. The cost is sitting at that, but I'm saying I might have not done, right? I might have not cancelled this, but that does not necessarily mean, right? They were supposed to sit back, get this, what you call ballooning and ballooning, you see? So I'm saying to the commission, I accept what might be wrong in terms of my conduct, but I'm pleading with the commission, right, to seriously take note of the fact that they also had a role to play. If I give...
And Director Malatji, when Mr. Bolhayes was here, if you listen to his evidence, you would have heard me say to him, why is it that only Piri is being blamed for this? Because more people than Piri were responsible for this, including those who authorized the payment. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not just you, but because you are here today, you can only answer for your conduct. So Mr. Skakani, I will leave it there and then...
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I think you've assisted a lot with some of the questions that I had. Mr. Malatji, Director Malatji, I think what I need to emphasize is that you referred to your managerial, to your administrative functions in a sense, but you are at a managerial level. You are a director, you've issued instructions, you are in charge of the standard operating procedures. It can't be that you don't know how to enforce it. Your level also requires responsibility from you. And you did not stop these ad hoc services. And as Commissioner Kumalo is saying, if we are to accept mathematically that from the date of the instruction up to June, that would have been, I think in terms of the email itself, it would be around 50 million thereabout. But we can also accept that we need to take it back, let's say even to January, and the payments to Gubis, or as a result of the irregular deployments, which you've accepted. That for the 6 months alone is some 96 million, just for 6 months, just for ad hoc services. You accept that possibility, according to this email that you attach. So in essence, what has been lost around these irregular ad hoc services, which, as you say, not compliant with the SOPs, and yeah, just to leave it at that, would have cost the city, or in particular the TMPD, 96 million. And if you average it out in terms of the services, what becomes interesting is that as the theme runs through, is that Major Piri and yourself admit that the inspections or verification of services were not done to the T. So a majority of that could potentially have been for services not rendered. I think we can accept that.
I wouldn't accept the narrative that the majority of them might have been paid without the services being rendered. I'm saying this because, Commissioner, we've got a system in place right? Even though it has its own shortcomings, right? But it cannot be correct that I come here and I say I accept that the majority of these ad hoc services were not carried out unless it is evident that indeed for 6 months on this site there were no security guards deployed and so forth and so on, you see. But as it stands now, I wouldn't sit here and accept that, okay, the majority, because the officers got systems. Piri is within the subsection that deals with monitoring of private guards in particular, right? In terms of that system, the unit's function is to go out there, right? Check and confirm if security guards are in place, how many of them are in place, and so forth and so on. Because at the end of the day, these confirmations are critical for service delivery in the city. So,
I think in just remembering your evidence previously, you did accept that some may have been paid without verification, and maybe therefore without the work, and in some cases without the work being done because of your staff shortages. You did accept that. That's some.
Yes, Commissioner, I did.
Yes.
And I gave those reasons. Yes,
Yes, you did explain. Thank you.
Just to test that forward, when we deal with some, would we say what's the degree of the system of monitoring? Because one of the issues was monitoring the progress of the sites that you had allocated. How often do you get reports about whether systems are run properly?
There are weekly meetings held with all service providers, in which meetings service providers are taken through challenges that APSS is experiencing in as far as monitoring and related functions are concerned. So on weekly basis, there is what we call operational meeting. And in that operational meeting, the monitoring team, right, takes the what you call through. And at the same time, it is the monitoring team that is addressing the what you call the service providers on things that are not happening, things that are happening, but upon which we need improvement. So.
Thank you. Then, if you go to the emails that you've provided, I would assume with these meetings, you would then be in a position to provide a report. In your bundle ST1, page 4, this is now in June. This is an email from Deputy Commissioner Rivers Peace to yourself on 25 June 2025 at 8:01.
Bundle 1, page 4.
Page 4
Okay.
of your bundle, of the annexes. You are required, that's in June. You had been requested in March to stop ad hoc services, so you have weekly meetings. So in essence, you would be quite aware of the issues around ad hoc services. But you say you've got a monitoring team and you would be aware. What was the difficulty with then responding to Deputy Commissioner Rivo's piece about these proof about ad hoc services? Because we don't have your response in paper and we have to deal with that. But what was your response? Because if you get reports, ideally, not all of them should be oral. You would have probably gotten, if written reports around the meetings with the service providers or your monitoring team. Do those reports exist? And secondly, why don't we see the response to Commissioner Rivo's piece? And to date, we don't have it.
I'm not sure, Commissioner, if I understand your question very well, but let me try and you'll indicate if I misunderstand.
Perhaps let Mrs. Kakane repeat the question. When we come back, we just want to take a 10-minute comfort break. Let's come back. Let's resume at 5 to 4. Let's adjourn.
I always hope that I could have put down with him.
Deputy Chief, did you see that video? What was it? What was the scene that was being described? That was being shown in the video?
Correct, Sesi. It was Sergeant Nkosi. It's not only a video, Sesi. There was two. He sent a picture and a video. I'm not sure if it appears there in the chart because it was not only that video alone. It was a picture and a video because they were at the funeral, if I recollect very well, of the deputy president by that particular day.
So it was the funeral of the late Deputy President Mabuza.
Correct, Sesi.
And Sergeant Nkosi was walking with Mr. Mnisi at the funeral.
Yes.
Now, in that context, how are we to understand, I can see, Ukuthi, you have captured Umfowethu, and he wouldn't want you to leave him.
I was referring, as I indicated, to the attention with regard to which I think he has taken the attention of the CFO, and he wouldn't want to, to be far from him.
So the CFO wants to be with Sergeant Nkosi, is what you are saying?
That's correct.
And why the verb capture?
Capture signifies here, see the attention here.
Well, in context, that isn't what it means. Look at what you say at the end of the message. Umfowethu is the best person to be with. Ujuda wetu, who will do great things for us, compared to Baba Wako Ungaseku. So, what I want to put to you is that the capture of the CFO was a process that was designed to put the CFO in a position to do great things for you.
That's not true, CS, because I don't think you should isolate Ujuda wetu to the entire statement.
Maybe explain Ujuda wetu, because you say it has significance.
Much as I said, Ujuda wetu becomes the context where I'm speaking about this thing, with relate to, the gratitude, that it's
that I see. It signifies, gratitude, and it's a praise, it's indumiso.
Why don't you read that last sentence, substituting for ujuda wetu gratitude or praise or whatever you say it means, so that we understand your context?
See, when we write these things, it's not like you are writing a formal or thesis or whatever that need, we are communicating on WhatsApp groups and so forth. It's not a formal way of communications. We have our own way of how we communicate and so forth. So much as I'm saying, if you will read the entire statement bit by bit and say, Ubaba Konga Seko, capture Ujuda Wetu, sometimes we might not be able to bring this into context. Otherwise, you'll understand it the way you want it to look like.
But surely, as you write, you want it to mean something.
Much as I'm explaining, Commissioner, to say here it represented the attention, because I tapped on those videos and pictures, the attention that he has drawn from the CFO.
Can I say, to me, that clip depicts people at a funeral. You say it's a funeral, so I see two people walking together at a funeral. That's what looking at that clip says. Your message says more than just looking at people. You're not commenting about people who are at a funeral together. You say you have captured Mfowethu. So you have to explain that when I look there and see two people at a funeral who may have arrived together, I don't know whether you know that they went there together, that's why you say you've captured him. Maybe they came separately, they happened to arrive together. So the captured means nothing when I look at the video and you've said you've captured Mfowethu. So you have to explain that you get sent a clip and then it causes you to say you have captured Mfowethu. What are you talking about? You're obviously not talking about just two people just because they are at a funeral together. So do explain. You get a clip that shows you these two people who are at a funeral together. Why do you say that depicts Sergeant Nkosi having captured the CFO?
He has captured the attention of the CFO, Commissioner, and that's what it precisely means.
What do you mean he's captured his attention? They're at a funeral. We see a clip that just shows them walking together. What is it about that image or that visual that explains he has captured him?
To say the CFO wants to be next to Sergeant Nkosi, that's capturing the attention of someone.
Do you happen to know how it is they are walking next to each other? You have to know. For you to say, I see you have captured him, it means you know something about how they are ending up together there. And that is the part you have to explain. What do you know about how they end up together, walking together there, for you to say you have caught his attention? You don't say to Nkosi, I see the CFO has captured you. You're not saying that. You're not saying, I see that you have become interested in the CFO. You don't say that. You say the CFO has become interested in you and he wouldn't want you to leave him. So you know that it's the CFO, in fact, who is interested in Nkosi and wants Nkosi will want Nkosi to be there forever, never to leave him. You know that. And what you're being asked, or what I'm asking you is, well, what are the background facts that make you make that statement?
The background fact is that he seems very happy next to Sergeant Nkosi. And this is what I've explained, Commissioner.
Okay. And then explain why you say you should gear yourself to do so forever, my brother. Has the CFO told you that he wants Sergeant Nkosi to be there forever?
No,
Where
Commissioner.
do you get this statement that gear yourself to do so forever, my brother? From two people who are walking next to each other looking happy. Why do you say he will want you to do this forever?
Commissioner, I have my own way of, the tools of analysis, and I wouldn't think alike like any other person.
Yes.
So I'll be able to reduce what I see the way I see it.
Yes.
Yes.
Share that analysis with us, and then, and maybe let me start off by saying you don't pluck analysis out of thin air. There are facts on which you are basing yourself. You say you should gear yourself to do so forever, my brother. And that's an analysis. You've analyzed that you will want him to be there forever. What are the facts on which you base that analysis on?
He seemed happy and at peace with him.
Okay. Why do you say Umfuetu is the best person to be with, who will do great things for us?
When I say great things, it doesn't end there. I also went further and say, it's not like Ubabako Ongaseko.
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that part. So I've asked you a specific question. Why do you say the CFO is the best person? One, for what is he the best person? Two, he will do great things for us. What are these great things? And three, who is the us in that statement? So there are three parts to it.
I'm taking this from 2010 because I'm referring to someone who Baba Konga said it has got an history, what transpired in the past. And I'm saying he'll be able to nurture him in the right way and so forth.
What will the CFO do for you, Deputy Commissioner Dlamini, because you say he will do great things for us? Forget the CFO because you're the one that's writing. What is it that the CFO will do for you, Dlamini?
Not for me. When
No,
I
you
say
said
for
us.
us, I'm saying for us because I indicated that Sergeant Kosi, it's like a brother to me. I regard him as such. So when we talk, I can't say we'll do great things for you. I'm saying I'm happy for you because there you are having a father who can look after you, nurture you in the right way.
So when
If he does for you, it's like he's doing for me.
So when you say us, you mean Sergeant Nkosi?
Correct, Commissioner.
Okay. What are the great things that you say he will do for Sergeant Nkosi? You must have something in mind. It's not just words.
Great things comes in many forms. It's like, looking after someone's welfare, nurturing him in terms of advices and so forth, taking interest into a particular person's welfare. So that's what I was referring to. You'll see that he'll check him with his wife if he's okay, he's recouping well in the hospital and so forth. And I know that Sergeant Kosi need that because the way he grew up, he definitely needs someone to be able to encourage him.
When you say he will do great things for you, you must know something about the CFO. Who do you know him to have done great things for? You know something about the CFO. So tell us, what do you know about the CFO that he has done great things for somebody that makes you say that he will do great things for Sergeant Nkosi? What do you know about the CFO?
Commissioner, I don't know the CFO much, that he has done something great things for someone. These are feelings that you have to say this person will be able to look after this person, nurture him into a particular direction.
But you told us in your evidence that your interaction with the CFO is in meetings of the TMP of the city. That's your limited interaction with him. How do you, if that's all you know about him,
Yes.
how do you know that he's a person who will do great things, who has a propensity to do great things and will do so for Sergeant Kosi, for you to make that statement?
Commissioner, perhaps if we can think of great things as material things, then we'll be wrong in that assertion, because great things will come in the welfare of looking after someone that is well mentally and otherwise he get good advices. You don't need to attach material things to great things.
So you know that the CFO will provide mental wellness, to use your word, support to the CFO,
He'll provide
to
guidance.
Sergeant
also.
Nkosi.
He'll provide
Even though you have
guidance.
only met him in formal 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings of the municipality, and you have no personal relationship with him, because that's what you've told us. You have
Yes.
absolutely no personal relationship with him. You don't even talk to him on the phone. You know that he will support Sergeant Nkosi. That you know. It's something so personal that has nothing to do with work. You know that the CFO will do for Sergeant Nkosi, even though you don't know the CFO at all.
You don't need to know someone for years to understand the character or how a person perhaps behaves and so forth. I can meet you twice, then I realize to say, here my daughter or my son will be in good hands to be nurtured.
In this case, you determined that from official meetings of Tshwane Metro, that the CFO will support Sergeant Nkosi, just from your formal meetings.
Correct, Commissioner?
No, that's not true. I want to put it to you. It is not true. You're being dishonest with us about what this message is about. Lastly, from me, in that same message, you say, compared to ubaba wako ongaseko, who and what are you referring to? This ubaba, and what did he do for Sergeant Nkosi that you say now the CFO will do for you?
Much as I indicated, there's history around that, of which I don't think I'll be able to divulge here, how Nkosi was raised at home and so forth.
I just want to know, what did he do for Nkosi that you now say the CFO will do? And this is relevant to our terms, because you followed, let me finish. You followed the evidence, you've listened to the CFO's evidence. It's clear from how you're testifying. You've listened to Sergeant Nkosi's evidence, that is clear from how you are testifying. You then say, so you have that background, and you know through engagement with you, your own testimony and their testimony, that we are looking at what appears or appearances of improper and corrupt dealings relating to tender in Tshwane. You know that's the evidence that we are looking at. That's what we've been engaging with you about, and eventually we must make conclusions about. So it's a relevant question to ask you. This ubaba wako that you refer to, that you say used to do things for Sergeant Nkosi, which the CFO will now do, because that's what your message is. He will do things for you that your father used to do, who's no longer there. It's a relevant question to ask you, who are you talking about? And two, what did that person do? More importantly, what did that person do for Sergeant Nkosi, which now the CFO will do? This commission has an interest in that. So you can't say, I'm not prepared to discuss it, or I'm uncomfortable to discuss it. You have made a statement. The CFO will take over what Sergeant Nkosi's father used to do. And I'm interested, and it's relevant, not for the sake of it, it's relevant information that must be given to this commission. What is the CFO to do for Sergeant Nkosi that you are referring to in this WhatsApp message?
I indicated, Commissioner, that great things do not refer to material things. It refers to taking care of someone, being concerned about the well-being of a person and so forth, which the one I'm referring to, there were shortcomings in that regard.
You've had my comment about that evidence. You're not being honest.
I don't
You're not being
agree,
open with us. Yes, you won't agree, obviously. But I have to put it to you. so that you have no mistake where I stand on this matter. You are not being honest about the content of this WhatsApp, what you were conveying. Thank you.
Can I respond, Commissioner?
Yes, you may.
I am honest. I wrote it because I have a background with Sergeant Kosi and I understand what I've written here.
The problem is you don't have a background with the CFO, and yet you're saying now you're giving explanations that can only hold if you know the CFO more than what you have told us, which is out of 4 or 5 meetings of the city.
I've noticed the CFO, how he conducts himself, his behavior, how calm he is, and so forth. I was referring on those things.
All right, that's your answer. Thank you.
National Commissioner, the Deputy Ministers, and the SAPS management, thank you so much for the presentation. I want to start off with something that's very topical and nothing was mentioned about it, SANDF deployment. A complete failure, a big disappointment to us as South Africans. Why haven't we heard anything about that deployment? Minister's priorities, as well as the SONA priority. And I'm really, really disappointed that nothing was said about it in your presentation. Nothing was said about the fact that we haven't had a single report since the deployment in terms of successes, in terms of informing South Africans where we are, what has happened, is it working, is it not working. If anything, since the deployment of the SANDF, there's been more deaths on the Cape Flats. If anything, it almost feels like a drive-by, like a wedding drive-by, where a couple is driving through the community and everyone is waving and smiling. There's absolutely no operations taking place. And I speak from a point of being present at these operations, Minister. I was driving behind 3 of these operations in different areas on the Western Cape for over an hour. And guess what? Not a single time did SAPS or SANDF stop to actually go in anywhere. They drove through the community, they smiled and they waved and they went to park and that was the end. What is happening? We have allocated billions. We literally see only one SANDF, and sorry if I'm going to be stuck here for a while, one SANDF van with 8 members and 4 SAPS vehicles in hard-hit communities. And at this point, we're having more than 100. We speak about the vulnerable women and children. That is where your victims are coming from, the Western Cape. I want to ask, why don't we have, your presentation speaks to a whole of government approach. Why don't we have a whole of government approach when it comes to this intervention? What stops us? What are the challenges? Because it has clearly fallen flat on its back. Why haven't we included forensics in this operation? It's not there. There's no intelligence. We speak to the members that's part of these operations. There's absolutely no intelligence. They don't know where to go and where to start. And that's the reality. So please, can we have feedback on the SANDF deployment, why it's not working, and what next? I think that's the first thing. Also, the second thing, I'm not sure if we are creating duplicate roles or if this is a smoke screen or what, but can we please unpack the role of the newly appointed, I'm not even sure what role he's been appointed in, General Kwanazi. Can we first, before I ask questions on that, please unpack what that role entails? And then also, we speak to the vetting, obviously, what is unfolding in ad hoc and Madlanga Commission and what our response. Counterintelligence. There's absolutely nothing in this report about counterintelligence that exists within SAPS. When it comes to detecting the risk, when it comes to lifestyle audits, what are we saying about counterintelligence? Are they there? Are they dead? And are they active? And what is the budget allocation for counterintelligence? Or is it no longer needed within SAPS? Because if we had an active counterintelligence in SAPS, we wouldn't be sitting here today with an acting minister and an acting commissioner. Then also, something the reservists. Here we have thousands of South Africans that has given their time and that has served this country for years, that has gone through all the training. And we are duplicating roles, we are employing new people in those roles when we do have our reservists. What are we saying about that? Where are we with the reservists who still have those per cell numbers on the system, who cannot even get grants because of that? We speak about, I think on page 31, youth, children, and vulnerable people. 47 million for youth, children, and vulnerable, and we speak about, prioritizing GBV, another SONA priority, 47 million allocated. And we speak about crime prevention, when there are hundreds of children on street corners begging, and our policemen are driving right past them, as if that's not a crime. What are we saying about children that's been abandoned on every street corner on the Western Cape, throughout South Africa? But we speak about a budget of 47 million. We speak about border security, 2.7 billion rand. Does this include scanners? We heard in the ad hoc committee about one scanner. What are we saying about detecting illicit goods coming through our borders? Do we have the relevant equipment to address it and to tighten border security? SAP's infrastructure. A couple of weeks ago, Chair, I visited the Hawks in Bellville, their office. Lord knows I wouldn't go to work. That building has been declared unfit many years ago. The morale of the members in that building is at an all-time low. Is that building part and parcel of the infrastructure upgrade? It cannot even be upgraded, must just be scrapped. These are the real issues on the ground. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. It's important that the agenda and the focus of this meeting is kept in view. So we were asked to prepare on the budget and the APP. And so we've had questions, for instance, about whether these targets are realistic or not. Those are helpful. I'll address all the questions that have been raised. We were not asked to report on the SANDF deployment. But the honourable member is entitled to raise that issue, and there are questions, legitimate questions, about how that intervention is being monitored and whether it is successful or not. I think that is a matter that the committee should be focusing on in its work ahead. The deployment has just started. We as the ministry also working on how to monitor the implementation of the deployment of the soldiers who are not directly under the command of General Timpane. But I see that the SANDF has quite a lot of assistance from the honourable member, entering homes and so forth. Now, and it's certainly premature to make that kind of highly generalized observation about it not working. The deployment is for an annual period. And I would say, honourable members, that it's critical to understand that the deployment of the SANDF is not a panacea. We've never presented it as such. The critical question for the police is going to be how we use this period to improve the level of policing in relation to organized crime. And certainly the deployment of the SNDF was necessitated by the recognition that we were not succeeding in dealing with the gangs, with illegal mining at the level that we need. And therefore, we should be having a conversation about what the government is doing to address this evolving challenge of organized crime. That is the critical question. The deployment of the SNDF is intended to create the space for us to develop and implement such an organized crime strategy. Now, as regards General Kwanazi, We have elevated him to a very senior role at a national level to deal with organized crime. So he will head up the Priorities Committee on Organized Crime in the Net Joints. The Net Joints is chaired by General Musikeli. That is the main operational structure through which operations are implemented. The politicians don't sit there. So the decision that has been made with respect to the appointment of General Mpane should be seen as part of an effort incrementally to strengthen police leadership at the top. So the way we are seeing it is that she will be leading a team. General Mkonazi is part of that team. General Musikeli is part of that team. And they have distinct roles, and their responsibility is going to have to work together as a team. Because this idea that you have one national commissioner that does everything is wrong. What we need at the top at SAPS is a collective leadership that combines the skills and attributes of a number of key office bearers, if you like any large organization. And may I say, there's no need to be angry about this. If you ask the question, we'll give you an answer. General Mkonazi's appointment has been in the media. It's not hidden. It's been publicized. And I hope that his appointment also at national level will be appreciated, because we're making decisions about how to implement an organized crime strategy. And a decision about leadership is critical. In the documents before you, there is also the focus on the DPCI, which you might want to think about as our FBI. General Nkosi is here. The DPCI, the commitment is to build out the capabilities of the DPCI also as one of the lead agencies fighting organized crime. Now, Honorable James raises the issue about children. This is a very important question. But the honorable members of this committee should know that this is why we need an all-government approach. You can't look at the SAPS budget and say, well, is enough money being allocated to support the development needs of children? The question should be, what is the role of SAPS in dealing with the enforcement issues impacting children, issues of criminality? And it's the same with GBV and H, on which I thought General Schnickeling, Member Schnickeling, yes, under my watch, it looks like there are going to be a few people who might get it. But you asked all the right questions about whether the targets and indicators reflect this commitment. It's the same with infrastructure, Honorable James. You know that actually the department is not an infrastructure department. We don't build police stations. We don't maintain them. So when you go around the country and you see places where there should be police stations and there aren't any, as I have, and you go to police stations that are not properly being maintained, the question is whether the current model of delivery of police stations and maintenance of those police stations is adequate. I don't think it is. And that's a challenge for the government. The stations are built by the Department of Infrastructure and Public Works. And we pay them to maintain those stations. Now, you must not misread me, members. to be thinking that I am now pointing fingers at another department. I won't do that. Because I know if I was the minister of that department, you would still have the same problem. It's a challenge that we haven't succeeded in dealing with over the last 30 years. So that is why we've started a conversation with the Treasury about our approach to infrastructure. And it arose out of a conversation I had with Deputy Minister Matale, which is, if the current model is not working optimally, not like it's not working at all. I visited many stations, new stations. I was in the Western Cape over the long weekend and visited what do we call it? Not a pilot, the ones where it's a temporary satellite. It was a fantastic structure. I mean, for a satellite, really secure, because that's one of the problems we have with using the satellite option, that the police officers there may not be safe. But this was a solid structure. So we have started a conversation with the Treasury around PPPs, whether we can use the PPP model. One of the priorities in my conversation with the new acting national commissioner is to be the implementation of that model. And my understanding is that there already are 27 stations that have been identified by GTEC for the implementation of that model. But if that model can be implemented, which involves the private sector, it could possibly, I don't want to be making promises, it could possibly transform the infrastructure landscape of policing in this country.